Thank you for staying with us, everyone. So we were supposed to discuss the implications, or rather the significance of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. But we'll take this conversation in the second segment of the program. For now, let's talk politics. As Nigeria approaches the 2027 elections, political conversations are heating up across the country. Tonight, we take a closer look at the emerging opposition forces. We're talking about the African Democratic Congress, ADC, a party fast becoming a strong opposition platform, as prominent opposition leaders from the PDP, APC, and Labour Party rally around it to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 elections. And for a party some politicians call a party full of expired politicians, what does it have to offer Nigerians? Joining us in Abuja studio is Saidu Abubakar, ADC chieftain, public commentator. Mr. Abubakar, thank you very much for joining me on the program. Good to have you on Politics Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Right. To start, how do you see the new opposition force positioning itself ahead of the next election cycle? One, because your party, the ADC, is seen as a minor party in Nigeria. Nigerians are wondering, how can a new opposition force realistically compete against the well-established parties in 2027?
Well, I will start by correcting this, notion of saying ADC is a small party. It used to be, but it's not anymore. ADC, as it stands today, is the strongest, opposition party in this country and the only party that can unseat the current administration from the federal and states. But you said how strong and how prepared maybe the ADC can be. I will tell you, as a member of the ADC and then a strong, one of the prominent young people pushing for this ADC in Nigeria, I can tell you the ADC we have today is different from the ADC we used to have. ADC we have today, in spite of all the challenges, all the attempt by the ruling APC to destabilize the party, attempts, to attack its leading figures, with the political persecution, using all the institutions of government that are supposed to be, neutral, away from political, things are being dragged in so that they will bring the ADC down, but it's not happening. I can tell you today, as you can see, many people are joining. Saidu Abubakar, the former vice president of this country, the likes of Peter Obi, the likes of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and it's the same thing wherever you go in this country. Now we only have the ruling APC that will be packing out by 2027, and then the incoming ADC in Nigeria. So it's no longer a small political party as it used to be.
So if the ADC is the strongest opposition political party that will unseat or that is capable of unseating at the federal and state level, why did it fail to win the Anambra South senatorial election last year?
Well, you see, now the ADC of this January is different from the ADC we used to have in the last year. Okay. And then we also, what happened? We saw the, vote buying, we saw the intimidation, and then, but I can guarantee you moving forward, if there is any off-cycle election coming, which I think we don't have at the moment till the general election, I can tell you categorically that if we are to go to polls tomorrow, ADC will definitely, unseat this APC, because it's not about the ADC as a party, it's about the Nigerians. Nigerians are not happy with what we have on ground. The government has failed in terms of, the basic responsibilities of it as a government. I'm not saying, I'm saying it, I'm not using it to blackmail the government, because this is something that affects all of us. You're just talking about the Remembrance Day, you can see what we have in the Northwest, the terrorists, the Lakurawa in Kebbi and other parts of Sokoto are gaining more strength, the economic hardship, the multiple taxation, tax upon tax. Today we don't even know what we have. We wake up every morning with a news of additional tax, be it electronic tax or anything that we don't even know. So Nigerians are not happy with this government.
You say you do not know. Is it that you do not know because you have not read the tax laws?
Not because we have not read the tax law, but because of the back and forth. When you see the National Assembly, will say what they have gazetted is not what is being, signed into law by the president.
Just to correct you,
the Cape.
All right, just to correct you, the National Assembly already had a resolution on that. I mean, what was gazetted is the same as what was published to Nigerians. But, I like your confidence, Mr. Abubakar, because, one thing I tell APC chieftains when they come here to underestimate the ADC is that, one, the ADC coalition plan is a replica of the opposition strategy that brought APC to power in 2015. Maybe minor differences, but mostly same strategy, which is build a united front, consolidate its structure, then select candidates, credible or not. Second, when you look at the caliber of politicians who have joined the ADC, how do you underestimate such formation? And on the other hand, here in this part of the world, when you see such kinds of politicians defecting ahead of a crucial election, it's always for personal interest. And that's why I would never fault some Nigerians who are saying, we're not impressed with this ADC. This is just another vehicle for personal ambition rather than credible alternatives. How do you respond to that?
Well, you see, for me, I know a lot of Nigerians, over the time because of this mass defection from one party to another by all the leading political figures in the country, it's very normal, even for myself as a young man, to feel like, this is what it looks like. But when you look at the ADC, it's not formed out of, a quest for power taking or power sharing or what have you. It's born out of, the passion and the belief that we cannot allow this country to continue to move in this direction. We cannot allow this APC-led government to continue. So when you talk about, the people in the ADC, whether Nigerians should be impressed, because these are people that have track records, people of, when you go and when you check their antecedents, you see what they have done. And then I believe coming together now, it's more of a marriage of, necessity, not marriage of convenience, that they believe that they have to come together and face this. Talking about personal ambition,
So when you say passion and belief, what exactly do you mean? And who says it cannot be a meeting or a marriage of convenience? And, I said I would not fault any Nigerian who thinks this way because, when you remember former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, telling Nigerians that he is hungry, you should understand why many Nigerians were dumbfounded and alarmed. Some Nigerians say this is a slap on their faces, and I'm sure that prompted some of them asking, what makes the ADC different from every other political party? If a former governor, former minister could boldly tell Nigerians that he's hungry, aren't these birds of same feathers?
Yeah, well, I cannot speak for His Excellency Rotimi Amechi.
Was he hungry?
But I think
Mr. Abubakar, was he hungry?
Yeah, No, not. He didn't mean hungry like in that way. Okay. I believe Rotimi Amechi is only saying he's hungry to change the situation we are in today. And then if you understand, anybody, any right-thinking person in this country at this point must admit that things are not going well. And if you have that quest to change, the narrative, you can say anything. And that was a political statement. It doesn't mean he's hungry for power. He might not be the presidential candidate of the party. The party haven't yet decided who wants, the ticket of the party. So he's saying he's hungry because he has ideas. He is seeing things going wrong that he believes, if given the opportunity, can change the narrative.
But how do you change the narrative when you were part of the system? Let's stay on this. You're a young person. And does it not bother you that bringing in politicians who have already served in other parties risk importing the same old habits? And, personally, I'm talking about corruption. I'm talking about patronage and politics of self-interest. How does ADC maintain its identity and ideology when these high-profile figures who may have switched parties multiple times suddenly appear in your ranks?
Well, you see, a lot of people that have held, public offices in this country are being accused of, corruption in one way or the other. I'm not here to clean anybody of that, allegations or what have you. We have the right as a country, as a nation, to ask public office holders what they did with the opportunity given to them. But at the same time, mind you, it shouldn't be a selective, justice. Because what we are seeing today when you talk about corruption, it's like people are just looking at the formation of the ADC and the people in the ADC and pointing fingers at them, not minding that we have these same people in the ruling APC. Now, before I go to that corruption issue, let me say something about being a young man, and that's the reason why we are here. I personally am calling on the young people, who have the vision and then patriotism to come and join. Unless we join, we cannot say this is what we want or how we want to be given the opportunity to contribute our own quota. And then if we refuse to participate, we keep on allowing the same set of people to be recycling themselves. And then when you talk about corruption like what we are seeing today is you are only corrupt if you are not in the APC. And then that's why we have problem with even the fight against corruption in this country. Because we have people that were, that refused to submit themselves to anti-corruption agencies. At some point, some were shielded by the serving governors because of immunity. Some people were even taken by the EFCC, and the next day you see them at the APC NEC meeting. All these sort of, corruption allegations we are seeing today in this country is just targeted at the people who are in the opposition. Like, for instance, coming from Kebbi State, let me speak about the person I know very well. Like the issue of Abubakar Malami, SA, and the former Minister of Justice. I don't have problem with Abubakar Malami being investigated. He should be. He held a public office. There's no problem with that. But the way and the manner his issue is being treated, it raises a concern about the fundamental human rights of Nigerians. You understand? So, because this is somebody that was invited, he submitted himself, he was given out on a bail, and then he was re-invited again, and then he was detained beyond the stated,
And it's interesting, Mr. Abubakar, because I have a list of some of these high-profile figures here, and most of them were former members of the APC. But on one hand, there is a lot going on with your party. Isn't it too early for a party that is promising Nigerians heaven and earth to be embroiled in crisis? At a time, there were warrior schools who were challenging the legality of the interim leadership. And I'm wondering here, what faction of the party do you belong to?
Well, for me, the ADC is one, and it remains one. It's just that when ADC was adopted as a platform, the ruling APC also decided to use all they have, like they did with the PDP. They destabilized the PDP, and then all machineries were set on ground, to also destabilize the ADC. Because before ADC was adopted as a platform, I can tell you, a lot of, discussions, were held, a lot of agreements, a lot of issues were sorted. And now if you look at the people claiming to be on the other side of the ADC, who are they? How many are they? But when you take the original ADC that we met by last year, a significant percentage of those people are still with the current ADC.
But some of them were pushed out. Some of them pushed out because at the moment there is the David Mark faction, there is a Nafiu Bala faction, which just suspended 15 prominent members, including Chief Ralph Nwosu, the legend anti-party activists. There is also the Dumebi Kachuku still laying claim to the leadership of the party as of December last year. There are several court cases. Kindly hold on, sir. There are several court cases. Just this morning, the Federal High Court in Abuja is set to consider the deregistration of the ADC. And from the reports I have, there is a forum called the Forum of Former Federal and State Lawmakers, asking the court to order the deregistration of these parties, alleging a persistent failure to meet the mandatory constitutional and electoral benchmarks. How deep is this crisis?
Well, you see, like I said earlier, any attempt to cause, confusion within the ADC, we know where it's coming from.
Where is it coming from?
Before ADC was adopted as We know exactly the
Where
same place that
from?
they have been, you know, set. It's coming from the APC, of course, the extension of the APC, like what we have in the PDP today. It is
APC,
the same APC.
are you talking about these high-profile figures who were member of the APC, or some external forces from the APC, those who are outside of the party?
Please, can you come again?
So if you all are blaming the APC, I mean, the PDP is blaming the APC, the Labour Party is blaming the APC. You are here tonight blaming the APC. How tactical it is? Please go ahead.
Well, for me, we are not blaming the APC. Let them continue with whatever they are doing, throwing spanners, you know, whatever they are doing, it won't stop anything. It doesn't, like, it's not going to change anything. Today, the ADC, we know that it's been the leadership that is being acknowledged by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the INEC, is that of David Mark, Arabeshola, and, you know, that's the interim leadership we have. And then moving into the next month, I know you will see the schedules of activities of the ADC, you know, till until the general election. So for me, there is nothing like APC is destroying the ADC. APC has done all it can, and then it's now backfiring. If you see the inauguration of the Reconciliation Committee by Mr. President himself.
All right,
so then. APC has a lot of issues to deal with internally.
Let me put you on hold. Let me put you on hold, Mr. Abubakar, because but most times there are some voters who say they vote for policies, not party names. Some say all political parties in the country ultimately operate the same way once in power. But how different is the ADC? But we need to take a break at this moment, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with us, everyone. This is Politics Tonight. Our focus tonight is 2027 elections, and we're also focusing on the new opposition force. I've been speaking with ADC chieftain, a member of the ADC, and public commentator, Mr. Saidu Abubakar. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program, Mr. Abubakar. Just like I said before we went on that break, most times there are some voters who say they vote for policies and not necessarily party names. Some say all political parties in the country ultimately operate the same way once they're in power. If tonight you're saying the ADC is different, what are those distinct policies rather that set the ADC apart from the ruling party and other opposition groups?
Well, you see, the idea of, you know, all political parties behaving in the same way when in power, I honestly don't agree with it, because what we have today is entirely different from all the successive governments we used to have in this country. Things are just getting worse. You know, we don't even know where we are. We don't have any sense of direction. We are in 2026 today. We don't know whether we are operating the 2024, 2025, or 2026, you know, budget. We don't even know where we are. So I can tell you what ADC will do differently is the fact that ADC want to adopt a strategy of being a people-oriented party, you know, people-driven. A party that's why we are calling on all well-meaning Nigerians to join the party, be able to contribute so that we don't allow some few individuals to take over the party or take over the leadership, you know, of the party, whether in power or outside the power, and decide what happens with the lives of hundreds of millions of Nigerians. So for me, I know what the ADC is doing currently. We are doing the need assessment. We are going around the country, engaging with the people, assessing the level of, you know, the level of destructions we have in the areas of economy, education, healthcare, transport services, everything. When we are done with that, we come back to the table. We design the blueprint, which I'm sure when it is time, we will present it to the Nigerians, and they will see what we have for them. And only then Nigerians can choose between what they have and what we are, you know, trying to sell to them.
Let me ask you, okay, quickly before I let you go, let me ask you this question. You know, if Nigerians continue to see your party as a haven for expired politicians, quote unquote, you should know how that perception could limit the chances of your party in 2027. There are Nigerians who prefer to vote for the devil. They know than the angel they do not know. And the question you ask yourself is, in Nigeria's political landscape, are there angels at all? But overall, as a young person yourself, how does the party plan to engage the youth and first-time voters who are particularly skeptical of career politicians?
Well, I'll begin by clearing that party of, what did you call it? The expired, right? Is that
Some
what you said?
Nigerians call
Well,
the ADC a party full of expired politicians.
yes, yeah, okay, got it. I don't believe in that, because if it is the party of expired politicians, why is the ruling APC so much interested in, creating all sort of problems, attacking all these expired politicians? If at all they are the expired politicians, why wouldn't the APC allow them to work so hard to put the structures, in place and confront them in the 2027 general election? And if at all they are a party of expired politicians, why is the APC trying everything possible to see that they're buying governors, allegedly buying members of the National Assembly? It's everywhere. Instead of, allowing these expired people to come out, and Nigerians will tell them, no, we don't want you anymore. So why are they targeting them? Why are they getting attacked? Why are they getting, detained over and over? I just gave you an example of what they are doing to Abubakar Malami. He was granted, a court, granted him a court order to be released. EFCC denied. We saw it, the campaign, the campaign of calumny and the media trials, which when it got to the court, they don't even have substance, to back up all their claims.
All right, then. Sadly, we're out of time, but I'm sure we'll continue this conversation some other time. Saidu Abubakar is a member of the ADC and a public commentator. Thank you so much for your time. Please have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.